Lesson 6-2, we're going to talk about pay periods and hourly rates. Many of you have jobs, so you already understand a little bit about how you get paid and when you get paid. In this lesson, though, we're going to talk about computing weekly, semi-monthly, bi-weekly earnings given an annual salary, and computing hourly pay and overtime pay given an hourly rate. So our key terms: weekly, this means you get paid every week, which means you get 52 paychecks in a year. Bi-weekly means you get paid every 2 weeks, which means that there are 26 paychecks. So you take the year, which is 52, divide it by 2, and you get 26. Semi-monthly means you get paid twice a month. So there are 12 months in the year, which means you get 2 paychecks a month. 2 times 12 is 24. Monthly means you get paid once a month, which means you only get 12 paychecks in a year. Usually the company that you work for, if they pay you monthly, you're going to be paid on the same date of each month. So if their pay period, their payday is on the 15th, every 15th you will be paid. Then we have direct deposit. Direct deposit means that paychecks are automatically deposited electronically into the bank accounts on your payday. I use that with my paychecks, which means I never actually have to go to the bank because when I wake up in the morning, the money is already in my account. It's beautiful, especially when we have a vacation here at school, or if there's a snow day and the school's not open. If it's a payday, that means I wouldn't have my paycheck, but because I have direct deposit, money is automatically put into my account. Hourly rate, this is a set amount for each hour that you are worked. Regular hours, this is the set of hours that an employee is expected to work. So when you have your job, they put you on the schedule for a set amount during the week. Overtime hours, these are the extra hours an employee works beyond their regular hours. So generally regular hours for a work week are 40 hours, and then anything over 40 hours would be considered overtime. With overtime, though, you get an extra hourly rate with that. Usually an hourly wage that an employee receives for any overtime hours. There are 2 ways that you can get overtime pay, 2 different types of overtime pay. You either have time and a half overtime, which is 1.5 times your hourly rate. So if you make $10 an hour regularly, and then you work overtime and you get time and a half, that means you get the $10 plus half of that, which would be $5. So your hourly rate for overtime would be $15. There are some that pay double time, and that's 2 times the regular hourly rate. So if you're making $10 an hour at your job and you work overtime and they give you double time pay, that means you would be getting $20 per hour. Gross pay, this is the total pay or the sum of your hourly pay and your overtime pay. So gross, this is before taxes. Minimum wage, this is the lowest hourly rate that can be paid by federal and state law. So what do you need to know to make sure each paycheck is correct? What is the difference between semi-monthly and bi-weekly pay periods? So go ahead and explain this. This you need to turn in on a separate sheet of paper. What are the advantages of direct deposit? I just talked about that as we were going over it. So give me some of the advantages of having direct deposit. Describe any Department of Labor postings that have been posted in your workplace. By law, every employer has to post Department of Labor information in a conspicuous spot, which means that it has to be seen by everybody. So while you're at work, look and see if there is Department of Labor postings and tell me what they are. So again, these 3 questions need to be done on a separate sheet of paper to be turned in. Example 1. Christina is paid bi-weekly. Her annual salary is $37,000. What is her bi-weekly salary rounded to the nearest cent? So if she makes $37,000 per year, she's paid bi-weekly, which means there are 52 weeks in a year, and bi-weekly, we cut that in half because bi means 2. She has 26 pay periods. So you need to tell me, do the calculation, $37,000 per year divided by 26 paychecks. What is she paid bi-weekly? And you're going to round to the nearest cent or the nearest penny. So do the calculations. Finish this question, please. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question. Example 2. Manny is paid semi-monthly. His semi-monthly salary is $1,239. What is his annual salary? So now I know what he gets paid throughout the course of the year. I want to know what is that as a total. So we know that semi-monthly means twice per month. So His $1,239 is paid to him twice a month. There are 12 months in a year. With semi-monthly, he's getting that twice, so he's got 24 payments. So you're going to do your multiplication of 1,239 times 24, and tell me what he makes annually here. So you need to go ahead and finish this question, please. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question as well and go on to example 3. Maureen works at a local Chicken King restaurant. Her regular hourly wage is $9.70. If she regularly works 40 hours per week, what is her regular weekly pay? So she makes $9.70 an hour and she works 40 hours per week. So 40 hours at $9.70 per hour. What operation am I going to do here? I'm going to multiply. So I take my 40 hours times $9.70 and I get her total weekly pay. So you need to go ahead and finish this question. I've set it up for you, told you the operation. You need to do the operation and answer this question. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question, so please write skip on all these that say skip. Example 4, if Maureen from example 3 works overtime, she receives an hourly rate of 1.5 times her regular hourly rate, or called time and a half. What is Maureen's hourly overtime rate? So we know that from example 3, she makes $9.70 per hour. Well, her overtime is 1.5 times that. So if I take the $9.70 times 1.5, I will get her hourly rate. So 1.5 times 9.70, that gets her her overtime hourly rate. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question. So example 5, Janice earns $10 per hour. If her regular hours are 40 hours per week and she receives time and a half overtime, find her total pay for a week in which she works 45 hours. So with this, we know that she works 40 hours for regular pay, which is her $10. And then she's done an extra 5 hours of overtime in which she's going to get time and a half for this particular week. So we have $10 times 40 hours, so that's her regular, plus now we have to deal with her overtime hours. So she's getting $10 times time and a half, so that's 1.5, times the 5 hours of overtime pay. So $10 is her regular, and here's her 40 hours of regular pay and hours here. Plus, all of this here is her overtime. So 10 times 1.5, because she's getting time and a half, times the number of hours of overtime she worked. So you need to go ahead and finish this problem. So do your multiplication on each side, and then do the addition piece here in the between these two. And then finish this problem for me. Check your understanding. This one we are going to skip. Example 6. Samantha worked her 40 regular hours last week plus 7 overtime hours at the time and a half rate. Her gross pay was $611.05. What was her hourly rate? So in this particular problem, we don't know what she's making per hour. That's what we need to find. So we're going to actually have to set up an equation here. We know that she worked 40 hours regular time, and then she had 7 hours of overtime. So again, we're going to have to break this up into 2 parts of the equation. So we're going to have her regular hours plus her overtime hours. So what it's going to look like is set up is, I don't know what she makes per hour, so I'm going to call that X, but I do know that she worked 40 hours. Plus her regular hourly salary times 1.5, because she's getting time and a half, times her hourly hours that she worked, which was 7 at the overtime rate. And all of that came to a $611.05 gross paycheck. So we need to go ahead here and do our multiplication and simplify this piece of information. So x times 40 is 40x plus x times 1.5 times 7. We end up with 10.50x equals 611.05. From this point, you're going to combine your like terms. So the 40x plus 10.50x, go ahead and combine them, equals 611.05. You then have a one-step equation where you need to get the x by itself. So to undo the multiplication that's going on, you need to do your division. So there are 2 pieces left to this problem, which you need to go ahead and finish. For the check your understanding, we're actually going to do this problem. I'm going to get you set up, but you need to do this question on a separate sheet of paper. So Jillian worked her 40 regular hours last week plus 2 overtime hours at double time rate. So instead of the 1.5 here, she's getting double her hourly rate. Her gross pay was $484. What was her hourly rate? So the same process as the other one, the previous example. This time, the only thing that changes is the double time rate and some of the hours that she worked, but the process is still the same. So the X that she makes per hour at 40 hours plus her double time here, so X times 2, times the 2 hours of overtime. So you need to go ahead and finish this in your notes as well as completing this on a separate sheet of paper to turn in, please. Example 7, we're going to go ahead and skip this question. Check your understanding. We're also going to go ahead and skip this question. And the extend your understanding, we're going to skip this question as well. So you have 3 questions that you need to do on a separate sheet of paper for me, please.